In this brief video, we'll cover what the basics of the 5-4-1 formation look like, how it works when we're on defense, and how it leads to counterattacks. To start, this is roughly the shape we're looking for. There are 9 players on the back 2 lines, compacting the space in the center of the field in front of goal. There are attacking players in space, but as they are not really in position to shoot, much less score, we aren't really all that concerned about them. As the ball begins to move around the perimeter, watch as the entire defense shifts, not just the player closest to the ball. Players that aren't immediately defending need to be aware of what is around them and, if there is no one in their area, back up their teammates. The important thing to pay attention to here is, the center of the field is always protected, with very little room to make passes or even really make runs. As that's the area where it's easiest to score, that's the area we most want to protect. Let's compare the way we want to set up this season versus what we've done in the past. The red team is set up roughly the same way we have the last couple years. The blue is set up the way we want to play this season. As the two shift into a defensive posture to defend their own 18-yard box, the difference starts to become obvious. With the red setup, there are gaps between the players, as we tried to cover that space with just 4 players. If you were to go back and look at all the goals we've given up the last 2 seasons, a very large majority would be from within those red spaces. Now, compare that to the spaces in the blue team. There is still the same amount of space, but the majority of it is either wide and away from the goal, or very cramped and difficult to get into. There is obviously still some space between the lines, but as you see here, even if they get a ball into that space, there are immediately 3 players surrounding it. Plus, the other system has the same gap with less people to cover it. Now, let's look at what these two systems look like with a ball in play. As you can see, the red team gets immediately pulled out of shape when the ball goes wide and down to the corner. The far outside back didn't pinch in, and the midfielder didn't drop as far as she should, and the result is a bunch of space that is wide open for the other team to find, right in front of goal. On the other end, however, the blue team can easily keep its shape because there are more people to cover the same amount of space. There is still space there, but it's going to be very tough to get the ball into. Plus, the cross-field pass is there and tempting, which can easily lead to turnovers and an attack on the other end. Next, let's look at how this formation can lead to lulling teams into a false sense of security, opening them up for counterattacks. By not being overly aggressive in terms of pressing, the opposition may make the mistake of committing too many players forward. As you see here, this team has committed 7 players to the attack, and many of them are going to be further upfield than they really should. As the ball comes around and works its way inside, notice how the defense collapses the moment the ball comes inside. The player just has no room to turn or easily dribble out, and that leads to a turnover. The instant the ball is firmly in our possession, the counter begins. That means that both wings, the striker, and one of the 2 center mids immediately head up the field, making themselves targets for an outlet pass. The center back here opts to play out to the right wing, allowing the others to continue to work their way into the attack while the back line stays home to cover in case we turn the ball back over. The center mid checks in to get the ball, then turns and immediately looks to get the ball into the attack. She has multiple options to do this, either by dribbling forward into space, making a direct pass to a teammate, or playing a long ball in front of one of the attackers to let them run onto it. There is no right answer here, as it completely depends on what the other team does. But the emphasis needs to be on speed. The faster we can get into attack mode, the more likely we are to catch the opposition out of position, leading to a scoring chance. Lastly, let's look at why we want to attack this way, starting with what it would look like if we're attacking a set defense. As you can see here, because we want to play in a more defensive manner, we aren't going to commit more than 4 or 5 players into the attack. So if the other team is able to get back and set up, that means we're going to be heavily outnumbered, making it very difficult to find space to get off a shot. Instead, this is more along the lines of what we want. The opponent has 3 players and a keeper back, with more retreating in a somewhat chaotic fashion. As the center mid advances with the ball, their natural urge to chase the ball is going to cause them to get out of position, opening gaps that players can run into, as well as pass or shoot through. The ball swings wide, the defense overcommits, and when it comes back to the center, the midfielder has a clear shot on goal. So to sum everything up, there are 5 absolutely critical things that you need to remember if you want to be successful in running this system. The first principle to keep in mind is, simply, speed. This is especially true when we're moving into the counterattack, as we want to try to catch the other team disorganized so that we can more easily find a way to put the ball on goal. What speed is to the attack, patience is to the defense. You need to fully get comfortable with the other team having the ball, so long as they aren't in a dangerous part of the field. We want to bait them into making a mistake, but it can't be forced. If you simply apply pressure and be patient, the mistakes will come and we can take advantage of them. But trying to force things will just lead to mistakes on our part, and we want to try to avoid that. The next principle is communication. The goalkeeper should be consistently talking to the back line, and the back line should be talking to the midfield. Constant communication is crucial to any team being successful, regardless of what system they're running. The fourth key to success is teamwork. Soccer is the ultimate team game. It's impossible for one player to win or lose a game by themselves. The person that scores has someone who gets the ball and someone who passes it to her, as well as several others that help in some way. A goal scored against us doesn't just beat the goalkeeper, it beats the entire defense. Always remember, we win as a team, or we lose as a team. There is a saying, a team is only as good as its weakest link, but that's nonsense. A true team has no weak link because they work together as one unit, helping each other so that there is no weak link. And saving the most important for last, the final key principle for success is also the easiest one for you to control for yourself: effort. For this or any other system to work, you have to put in the effort to make it work. Only you truly know if you are giving something your all, if you're working as hard as you can both to make yourself better and to help your teammates. If you can manage to combine all 5 of those principles together, we will absolutely be successful as a team, regardless of what the scoreboard actually says at the end of any individual game. Oh, and one last thing that isn't included here. Have fun. Enjoy this time together playing with your classmates. These are days that you'll look back on the rest of your lives, and we want you to remember them fondly. So put the work in and try to do your best. Absolutely. But we want you to enjoy yourself, too. Soccer is a game, after all, so have fun, work hard, and let's make this year a huge success.